Good evening. Welcome, everybody. Uh, this is yet another episode of COVID Care, which is being brought to you by Heartcrafted Foundation. This is a series of webinars which we are doing with people who have stood out of the crowd in recent past when the whole country was struggling with COVID. There was lockdown, and we found millions of people struggling with no income, no jobs, at times no place to stay, no food, no basic amenities. The tragedy is something which definitely we should have avoided. But the silver lining of that is there are many who went out of their way in supporting these people. We have seen that people cook food, set up community kitchens, made innovative models, uh, gave food to the migrants who are walking on the road, ensure that food is available in some local grocery or a hotel. At times, people have been given healthcare, shelter. That is a very visible and very discussed part of the whole episode. But there is another set of people who have worked really hard to ensure that the so-called privileged are also not exposed. People like you and me, and one of the success stories of the whole thing is while the country today probably have a very significant number of daily cases as well as a total number, and Bangalore also and Karnataka, though it started quite late, but sort of picked up in recent past, the number of cases and fatalities is significantly low in the communities where we normally stay, the gated communities, the layouts, the apartment complex. In fact, to give you a number, there are approximately 5,000 apartment complexes in Bangalore, which has 300 or more units. But if you look at the numbers of people who have been affected, has been very small. And once people have been affected, they have been very nicely isolated and the spread has been contained. So most of these places, the cases have remained restricted to below 10. It has not even reached double digits. So who did this magic? This has been done by people like Brigadier C. Sandeep Kumar Nair, who up to 25th of July had been the president of Sandeep VR Apartments, which has 1,524 flats and around 5,100 residents. Of course, over a period of time, it has, I understand, approximately 50 cases, at least 50 cases, not 50 cases of COVID positive, but 50 cases where people have to be quarantined because they themselves were affected or family was affected or they are in the proximity of an affected house. And today we are going to hear from Brigadier Sandeep Kumar as to how this magic has been achieved. Probably he can give the right number, but maybe the number of affected people may have been below 10 out of 5,100, which is a sort of a unbelievable number given the fact that in the apartment complex we are very close to each other. Same floor you have many families, but this number is very low. Now, before we go back to Brigadier Nair, I just wanted to give a brief profile. I know him for a long time because we are engaged in some work for the local society together. Uh, Brigadier Nair has studied in SB College, CMS College, Defense Services Staff College, Army War College, and College of Defense Management. He had been in Army for around 3 decades, and he has been posted, and I will come back because there is very interesting, probably that will be another day's discussion, in some of the toughest locations of the country in terms of geopolitical challenges. Subsequent to his retirement from army, he has been working in the corporate sector. He was in Torrent Power and now works as a director of in the Idea Solutions Consortia. Brigadier Nair has spent time in Siachen. He was in Sri Lanka during the IPKF days, and he worked in the Depsang area, which is right now at the eye of the storm between India and China. So we have all heard, of course, the extreme difficulty of Siachen, and now we are also hearing almost similar situation in Depsang and Siachen. I know that he had two stints, if I'm not mistaken, 6 months each, and there are extraordinary stories. IPKF, we all know that this is our involvement of Indian Army in Sri Lanka to control the insurgency there. It was a very difficult time for us. If I'm not mistaken, Brigadier Nair can tell me. I think he was also involved in the Eastern Sector during 1971, and he was one of the first uh, members of the Indian Army to enter Dhaka. But this is what I'm talking from memory. Uh, so very illustrious career in the army, very illustrious career he's also a Visishta Seva Medal awardee in the corporate, and has been a relentless fighter for the civic society for last couple of years, last many years, and I know him for a couple of years. So I'll go back to him and we'll start some questions. Before that, I just wanted to mention a line about Heart Crafted Foundation, which I'm a co-trustee, and this organization is focused on working with underprivileged women. Primarily, we work in the uh, Northeast India, and this idea of this series is to bring good news, where probably most of the days we open our newspapers and find the page full of bad news. Uh, but COVID, and I hope post-COVID things will be similar, has brought out a lot of heroes, a lot of ordinary individuals who has done extraordinary things. And Brigadier Sandeep Nair is one of them. Now, Brigadier, I will come to you and we'll essentially hear from you. We know that it's a very large apartment, 1,500 odd, uh, entities, 5,000 plus people. But the number of cases in a very highly communicable disease, you had cases, but it has remained extremely low. And I also have, heard and read in media, about a very highly regimented system which you created. I understand you created a committee of, you have 7 towers, 2 members each, and that committee got into action. You build these SOPs and ensure that it is, followed to the T. Now, of course, many of your residents are from army background, so probably that has helped. But nevertheless, it's exemplary thing. So I would just like to hear from you in your words, what exactly did you do? What all steps did you take?
Good evening, Dipankar. Pleasure to be with you and answering your queries and telling everybody who is watching it what we did and how we collectively ensured that COVID is kept away for most of the times, and ensured that people are not put into trouble and they have been looked after. And it has been a very challenging job. Actually, the collective fight all started with that the address of PM on 19th, which was followed by a Janata curfew and all those things. And seeing the reaction of people on that particular day, we realized that there is a positive energy flowing from the apartments, that in case of any restrictions or any things which are put across to ensure that they are remain safe, they will support us. And it happened. And that, like you already said, we started making, first thing we did was to make a committee, 2 people per block, making a COVID monitoring committee and preparing SOPs for home isolation. I wouldn't say home quarantine and all those things, because home quarantine has started at that time only in Bangalore for people coming from out of Bangalore. That means other districts of Bangalore, other districts of Karnataka. And also people had been coming from abroad, and people had been coming from out of the state also. So there are a number of foreign travelers who had come in because the people staying here are basically the IT workforce. We have about 400 odd, 300, 320 odd retired army officers who are staying here. Their children are also in the IT industry there. And the other people who are staying as tenants are mostly in the IT industry at various levels. And they had to travel abroad and they had come back. So at a time in the beginning, in the month of April and May and all those things, we had around 50 people for home quarantine. No infection, nothing, but we had to ensure they are home quarantine and looked after well. When in home quarantine, what happens? Their house is on home quarantine. There is something pasted on the the door. We have to ensure that there is no stigma attached to that pasting because everybody is watching what's happening. He is being put under quarantine. So we have to get that out of the people's mind. And people at that place are not going to go out. They have to have vegetables. They have to have groceries coming into them. Their milk has to reach there. So we made a team from available workforce with us, from the security, from the housekeeping, the people off duty. We made them a team to deliver things there along with the volunteers. And it was very heartening to see there are a number of residents who became volunteers to support our initiative of delivering things at home. And also some very graceful ladies agreed to prepare home cooked food and deliver it to bachelors who had been staying there. So it was very heartening to see that. In fact, all these give all this support from the people give us more resolve to do things to ensure they look after the people. So once the lockdown started, the first lockdown started, there was a total, I would say, there is no workforce which are coming. Security people, since they were staying very close by, they were all there. But the housekeeping people were coming far away from Kolar and Mandur and all those places. They used to come in train and buses. All those things got stopped. So when it started, at least in the first 3-4 days, we had only 5 people coming, 6 people coming, 10 people coming, because we have a workforce of 65 people. So we had to tell everybody to hold their horses and then keep the waste which is being made and all those things. We had to deliver it ourselves to the waste management place. So, but we managed in 4 or 5 days, we managed to ensure that these people are given a vehicle from our side with proper passes which we got issued with the police and the health authorities. And we were able to get all these people. Then the next step we did was to ensure that these people are put inside there. We prepared the place for them to stay inside. Though many of them didn't take that place, we ensured that they are looked after. We had made courts available for them. Some people were staying. We even made a kitchen if they wanted to do. And we opened a community kitchen as well for looking after the people who are looking after us. So that was in the first initial 1 week or 10 days, we did all these things. Our SOP is very clear. We had made SOPs which became benchmark for other communities also, as to how the home quarantine people will be looked after and how the home quarantine will take place. All these SOPs were made out of the government directions and government letters which had come. Then it was another thing, the panic was sort of setting in and the fear of the disease was, there. So we had to put people and ensure and tell them, okay, you can come out, ensure that you wear mask, keep the social distancing. You can definitely walk outside so that you are exercised well. But only restriction we had put for them were children less than 10 years and senior citizen, we said above 70 years should avoid coming so that they are the most vulnerable people in the society. Then we also undertook the pest control people to do sanitization of the entire area, because the security people are always exposed to people coming from outside. We ensure that every alternate day their cabin there where they are sitting there, where they are staying is done every alternate day, and also the lifts. So we had not stopped milk delivery. We had not stopped water delivery. So initially they all, agreed that we will all go and collect it from there. But then 5,100 people going and collecting would have become another problem. So we said, okay, deliver all these things here. But the best part which came up was 100% residents ensured that no household helps will come. But we said, okay, fine, household helps need not come. We will not permit them to come, but please ensure that they are paid, because their life is depending on the pay which they get by serving you every day. So that also worked well. Then we had car washers and all sort of such people who are helping. We ensured, and there is a person who press clothes. There's so many of them. So they are all stopped from coming. Good about the first lockdown and the second lockdown. They all didn't come. Other than elderly people of the age of there are people staying with 80 years who can't move around. We give them an option to have these people staying inside and being looked after. So many people went for the option of in-living household helps. So we looked after them, and then the next thing which we did was we had 50 quarantine flats at a time, and every 14 days or every 7 days it was the number was going down, again it was going up. So at a time there was about 55. So the best part was number of volunteers came up to help us, and the core committee of the management committee to carry on this. That was a very good thing. Our essential services were put back into full this thing, like the housekeeping, STP, waste management, water management, and all those things were put into this thing. And people didn't have to go outside at all. We had the vegetable people coming inside supplying. They were put through the normal drills of their, ensuring their hands are sanitized, they are wearing masks, their temperature is checked, and all those things were ensured. Vegetable was made available inside. We have a grocery shop inside. So for first 2 lockdowns, nobody had to actually go out. Even the medicine, we have a pharmacy inside. That medicinal requirement is also looked after, and the pharmacy had visiting doctors coming inside in case of any problems. That was also looked after well. So it continued for the 2 lockdowns, and people were quite confident about what we are doing. We had not a single case at that time. Even now, I would say in the unlock season also, unlock 1, unlock 2, we had no cases coming up at all. After the lockdown 2, we started permitting the maids coming inside. The first thing we did was a thorough medical checkup of all these people, organized for all the maids, with the help of post DW and with the help of doctors, and the government health inspectors and health staff, and also the Vaidehi hospital. The Vaidehi hospital sent their interns and doctors, came around and went to each flat, checked each person for their symptoms and various things. And it was a very, it was a very reassuring thing for all the people staying here, all the residents inside. They were very happy about there is somebody who is bothered about them. So that was a good thing which happened. Then, in addition to all these things, I already told that we had community kitchen, and the response of the community kitchen, we didn't have to spend any money for buying anything. Many people procured rice, procured atta, procured vegetables, procured fruits, and everything which is required for them. And till the second lockdown was lifted, we as a committee had not to spend a single penny to ensure that it is running. And when we closed down that thing, we had so much surplus, which we subsequently gifted to the community kitchen organized by Post DW also. And the other thing is that not many people, in addition to what they are given here, had given a lot of things by cash as well as by kind to the Post DW kitchen, which was run under the leadership of Lingaraj also. So that was the way we conducted the entire thing, and ensured that nobody had any trouble to make out. And slowly as the unlock took place, we started getting people coming inside with proper protocols. We had made self-declaration forms. Then we had started checking their temperature, also checking oximeter readings, and ensuring that they are not having any symptoms like cough, cold, or things like that. And we have made arrangements for them to be sanitized, the hands and sanitized, the hands are washed, they are checked, everybody is accounted for, and also to some level ensure that their health for about next 10 days is checked, because we had the telephone numbers. The security people were asked to at least in between ring them up and ensure that they didn't have anything. So we helped the government authorities also to ensure contact tracing. because contact tracing was the most important thing which was going out of control, and that is probably the reason today we are having number of cases. So we tried to ensure that these people are safe, and their contacts, primary contact, people who have come inside, doing work inside the flats or delivering something inside the flats. So all these things we, with the help of the COVID monitoring committee, we continuously did, and we still continuously still doing all the same thing. I'm now still part of the COVID monitoring committee. So now there are some cases which have come up basically because now there are, I would say practically there are no restrictions. So there is a little spike, I would say, but not to that level. There are about 5,100 people. So we have about 7 to 8 cases which is currently live, but that probably is not due to the, I would say it is not a case of alarming thing. We had been conducting tests here with the help of the local authorities and the Post GW. Every day, every alternate day, we are conducting tests. Till now, we have conducted about 150 to 200 tests. Today also, there was test people had come, and that is also in progress. And some cases have come up off late. So that is where we are.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for a very, very, very detailed, summary. Now, a few things, quite a few things you talked about, which was quite unique. You talked about the community kitchen. You talked about the health checkup of all the people. Self-declaration. You talked about testing. Now, this, how did you, see in a large apartment, there are so many people with so many opinions, and many of these things probably, people can consider it intrusive or restrictive, or some might say that, a lot of people said across the world possibly that I really don't care about myself, why bother me and all that. So did you face any challenges? And if at all you faced, how did you manage? How did you communicate? How did you bring people on board? Especially, things like going to house and, doing checkups. People could have registered, but I understand they must have participated. So how did you manage the whole communication thing and the all that, awareness and the trust and cooperation?
In today's environment, communication goes very fast. So it is all on social media and WhatsApp groups and various things. So we have a very tested, tried out system of tower representatives. There are 29 towers of 7 blocks. We have about 29 tower reps. 29, not only 29, some of the towers have got two reps as a backup. So there are about 40 to 45 people as tower reps, and each tower has got a tower WhatsApp group. So any communication coming is passed on directly to all these people. But still, there are some people who are still would like to come and sort of create an issue and all those things. We also faced all such problems. But we were very accommodative. We were always open to suggestions, solutions, and we were listening to those people personally and listening to those people on telephone or whatever. And I would, with conviction, say 99% of the cases, we were able to convince those doubting Thomases, or I would say, I'm not bothered, dekha jayega type of attitude, or nothing is going to happen to me sort of attitude. We were able to convince 99%. Of course, 1% is always there. I think 99% is a very, very high probability number that we were able to. Of course, we did that, and it was a great. And at the end of the day, we felt very happy that we ensured that things are happening with cooperation and with communicating. It's very important to communicate, to be open, to be transparent is very important.
Now, one of the things in our apartment we also face, and I'm sure it's there with you also, that, there are certain apartments where there are these, senior citizens. Everybody who is there, maybe 1%, 2%, they're all seniors. And normally they are managing through maid and somebody probably coming. Now you cut it off now they become very vulnerable. So did all of them go for the community kitchen food, or how did you manage those families who are probably, suddenly have to cook after many years or physically may not be fit enough?
No, that was the thing which there were about 5, 6 gracious ladies who came forward and said that we will make homemade food and give it to them. All senior
Okay.
citizen, all bachelors, and that is as far as the residents are concerned. Everybody was supportive in this case, and it was very heartening to see good food is being made, prepared. They are not willing to take any. It is not a sort of one payment. They are going. There are people who are 90 years old. There are people who are 85, 88 years old. There are about 20 or 15, 20 of them who are really old. And some of them were not even keeping the maid, saying that we are more vulnerable. We don't want the maid to go out and come back. And that is the time
Right.
when these help of these people and the neighbors also looked after them. And it is very heartening to see. So, and most of these elderly senior citizens were from the army background. So they also enjoyed the support which people provided, and everything was provided to them. So they were little listening, no, 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 we'll do it ourselves and all those things. But finally they agreed to all these things. The community kitchen, basically we had done it was only for the if some only for our staff, that is the
Okay.
security staff,
Okay.
the uh, housekeeping
Housekeeping.
staff. So there are 120 of them, including some of the maids who wanted to make use of the facility. Where that was all free of cost. We looked after them. And another initiative which I wanted to tell you was making of masks. And this initiative was from the side of Force GW. We made full use of it and gave all this double ply, triple ply mask, which was made free of cost and made available to us. We had given to all the staff plus most of the maids. So that was another thing which we did. That I slipped up in the initial stages to tell you.
So, this is a lot of good has come out. We see these people, as you mentioned, cooking for others, volunteering, calling up, paying salaries when there has been, no people are not working, and some of them may not be getting their full salary themselves, but they have. And also you mentioned about the, the support from the, uh, the authorities. They came and supported. But would you like to pick up one or two cases which really sort of startled you, or sort of, made you very surprised? Some maybe very young people coming forward or something like that, which stands out. Anything in particular you'd like to recollect? All these are exceptional, but exceptional among exceptionals. Did you see any particular thing? Do you recollect anything?
See, there was, when we had the entire thing coming up, especially when we wanted volunteers for the what do you call this monitoring committee, monitoring group, COVID monitoring task force, when we were preparing, the way people came out that I want to be part of it. And youngsters, who are working from home, they were prepared to work. They said, okay, I will, in my spare time, I will come and help out the thing. I'll go to the people and I will listen. That was really surprising. In fact, people working throughout the day, night, or day shift, night shifts. Some of them are some of them really did a fantastic job by ensuring in their free time they were going around and ensuring that the people in quarantine are looked after and their problems are projected in time. That was very heartening to see, and especially working people. So that was a very good thing. And there was number of times I saw the police coming inside. The police coming inside, that was part of their duty. So they will come in there, this thing, and see the people coming inside. And looking for people not wearing a mask or not doing all these things. So that was another thing, which usually the police don't come anywhere nearby, but they also came, started announcing things inside the colony, And that was another thing which surprised us. They also that is a good thing from the government side, which usually doesn't happen like that. But it was a thing. These are the two things which I can remember offhand. Otherwise, the support which I got, which otherwise we don't get. In fact, in a community as a management committee, we only get bricks and brick bats most of the time. But this time they ensured that at least we don't get brick bats in the initial stages. Later on, brick bats will be there, but mostly that brick bats are also, there are people coming in front and standing there to ensure that the bricks don't touch us. So that is another thing.
No, I agree. I think the unfortunate circumstances, not the best way to bring the best of people, but it has happened, at every stage. And especially, some of them are so unexpected, people who are, as you said, young people who otherwise you don't even see them. They are on their own. Probably first day you see them, if they're coming and saying, I'll help you. So good. Thanks so much. I just wanted to capture some of your things. I will, of course, write about it separately. I will request some photographs. I picked a few, but from your side. And we should, continue to do good. We are doing, and we hope that this camaraderie and the social harmony which we saw because of COVID continues, may not be fully, but in a large way, because it has made all of us much more happy than before. I mean, we started with a lot of fear and scare and unhappiness, but I think today we look back, at least the ones like us who has not suffered financially much, or, we can't obviously compare with the people who are struggling for food, but people who, like us, has found a lot of positives out of it. So thank you so much, Brigadier. And tell me, am I correct on that Bangladesh part, that you are one of the ones to enter?
I want to clarify that. I was studying in the college at that time. I was not part of the thing, but my battalion was there.
Okay. So I was, I couldn't find it, but I recollected you mentioned. So maybe you mentioned that your battalion went there. But nevertheless, you are also a war hero. Many people probably don't know that you also got injured in action. So that is another thing. We'll talk about that some other time. This battle we covered today, we'll talk of those battles some other time. Thank you. Thanks so much. Good night and stay safe. Take care. Bye. I'll stop the recording. Yeah.
Thanks for bringing me into this and giving an opportunity for for talking. And also, I am sure people will understand and see things can be done if you have
absolutely
will
absolutely
do it.
Absolutely.